New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Hello, greetings, and good morning. Reverend Michelle Wadleigh here, otherwise known as Rev Jersey Girl. You see me normally on Thursdays at noon on my Jersey Girl Wisdom show, and it's so much fun to be part of this radio station in general, and it's so much fun to be part of this beautiful lecture series as we kind of suck the marrow out of the bone of the Science of Mind textbook. Not an easy read, folks. If you're somebody who has picked it up, hello, Ronald. If you've picked it up and have tried to read it and you scratch your head a little time, hi, Mary Beth. I understand. But once you get past that first or that initial, like, what is he saying? And some people read it like it's all the logic in the world. I just wasn't one of those people. I needed someone to kind of walk me through it. I have a leather-bound book right now that was gifted to me, and I was saying I was never going to mark up in it, but this series has called me to do that. And in my home community, which is the Center for Spiritual North Jersey, we not only on Sunday mornings early, we are doing Dr. Edward Viljoen's Science of Mind in a year as a study. So we have people that check in every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. And then I've been so excited about all this work and falling in love with the textbook that my community, we are literally going through the textbook very much like this we're doing here at the radio station. So I welcome you here to the lecture series, and know that next week, Reverend Robert will be back on the next chapter, which name I can't remember at the moment. And every week, every Saturday morning, you get to tune in and be inspired from the pure teaching. Now, I'm going to actually get a treat for us this morning, but please, please, please. The thing about the Science of Mind textbook, or the thing about studying Science of Mind, forget about the textbook, is all about integration. It's about application. It's about embodiment. So when I'm saying something today, and I say something and it doesn't make any sense, do me a favor, ask a question. I don't want to assume that we're on the same page if we're not. And it's very important, because really what you're doing with these weeks is you're building a foundation of the teaching, of the facts within the teaching, that if you ingest them, contemplate upon them, and work to prove them out, you're actually building a level of faith and conviction that will then go before you, and it will be effortless in so many ways. So let me just do a little principle here and treat us in and get us set up. And I'm going to do it specifically about this chapter, which I'm very excited. If I remember correctly, I grabbed this chapter because it's another one that I'm excited about. Oh, so together, let us know that there is a power and a presence and a love. It is grand, it is glorious, it is always available. And it avails itself to, in, as, and through us every moment of every day. I declare for every listener now and everyone listening post post show that there is an awakening, a revelation, that truth is being revealed to each of us as we accept the truth as it's spoken. And as this truth is revealed, our body temple is made whole on an increasing basis. I bless our time together. I call it good and very good. And I let this word be so with bountiful gratitude. And so it is. Okay, that's just to set us up. It's because in Science of Mind, we use spiritual mind treatment. So it's good to do it at every turn. Every show that I come on, I pray before every show, pray, treat, whatever you want to call it. Everything I do is preceded with prayer. So I'm going to just read to you a few pieces directly from the textbook, comment on them, and then we'll move through the chapter in that way. It's a short chapter. It's not very long. The universe has been called the Great Trinity, or triune unity of spirit, soul, and body. The body being the result, the effect, the objectification of spirit. Soul is the immaterial plastic and receptive medium. It is primordial or cosmic stuff, unmanifest form. Body is the result of spirit working through soul or law. The entire manifestation of spirit, both visible and invisible, is the body of God. There is only one body of the universe. Within this one, body is included in all lesser bodies. Now, for those of you Science of Mind students out there who have been through the textbook, you might right now be catching some words within this little paragraph that you know fit within the teaching symbol that we use within the Science of Mind. If you don't know what the teaching symbols are, I'll tell you very quickly, and I got to find, because this is my leather bound has a concordance in the back. Let me see. Now, oddly enough, the teaching symbols do not have page numbers. Go figure. Ah, bless his little heart. There's one of the teaching symbols. I love these people that are better than I at this job. Well, that teaching symbol and others like it are in the back of, thank you, Robert, are in the back of the textbook. And I have always thought of them as kind of clumsy, to be honest, and struggled through them. And I think it's because there's a logic to this teaching, and especially when it comes to mind-body relationship, that I took for granted. But what we are saying is, spirit is, it contemplates upon itself, so it contemplates through soul or the creative medium. Body is the effect. That's a completely reductive and oversimplification, but I'd like us to start there. So as that relates to the teaching symbol, is that the all that is, the absolute, the everywhere present, is always availing itself, but the way it actualizes itself is through the creative medium. What is the creative medium? Intelligence. It is that which takes the impress of spirit and actualizes it on the grand scale. And then for us, we actualize it. So from the microcosm to the macrocosm, right? So on our scale, when we have propagated a consciousness and especially a consciousness of health, okay, we do that while being in right relationship with spirit. And as we continue to cultivate that and ponder upon that, it actualizes itself more and more and more in our body temple. All right, let me get back to textbook though. Body means the entire manifestation of spirit on all planes. So it's not just this body, although that's mostly what I want to talk about today. It's also this body, and this is a body. All that is the body of God. So all that is in form is an effect. So anything that is an effect, the assumption is that there was a cause that contemplated and set that thing in motion to be created, no matter what it was. Everything is created twice, once in consciousness and then in the physical form. And I'm building a case here. This becomes very important. The word body, as used in the science of mind, means all objective manifestations of the invisible principle of life. The body is distinguished from the idea in that the body is seen while idea is invisible. Again, I want to bring it down to simpler terms. Cause, effect. Absolute, relative. I think that those are simpler terms. For me, they have been. Okay. That was on page 98 in the textbook, by the way, if you desire to follow. On 99, the first new paragraph. Body is always an effect and never a cause. And that's let's put a pin in that one. We're going to talk about that. Body expresses intelligence. It's apparent intelligence being lent by the consciousness which permeates it. Okay. Actually, I'll give you another piece before I go on. To say that the body is unreal is a mistake. One of the things about Science of Mind is Holmes, while he's a faithful man and wanted to get the people in his time out of the superstition of the way we were acting with religion, he was also pragmatic. That's why you'll hear people say that Holmes says that God is in the prayer and in the pill. To the best of our ability, to the best of your ability, try not to create a division. It is God as body, God as you, consciousness demonstrating as you. And so when we stop separating, what happens, we can ingest this teaching and take it in at a level where we can begin to act upon it in a greater way for ourselves. Okay. So he says to say that the body is unreal is a mistake. It is real, but it is an effect and not an entity. It may be proven that the mind completely controls the body, and the body is but a reflection of the mind. Okay, so now this is where I'm going to go back to body as effect and not an entity and such. On a very practical basis, this is what I would like to encourage if you are a new listener. This is what I'd like to encourage you to consider. Since there is God and only God, and it says that other places in this chapter, and I'll get to it in a minute. Since there is God and only God, as we are in alignment with our God essence, let's say, or our spiritual essence, if God doesn't work for you, we can find ourselves, if we're in practice, I call it in right relationship, moving in synchronicity with the intelligence that is everywhere present. So, with this, there comes a point where we get to accept responsibility for the creation of our physical being, even of our illnesses. And bells and whistles might have just gone off in your head. So let me tread lightly here. While my life, my body, is the reflection of my consciousness, I know for a fact, for me and for you, that you and I have also adopted beliefs unconsciously. So while we are accepting responsibility for the creation of our world and our physical being, we must not take blame if we are ill. I'm a pretty healthy 63, almost 64-year-old person, but I have stuff that comes up. What I try not to do is I try not to critique myself or judge myself for having a pain. I've been having a shoulder pain. So I work to not critique myself for that because I know when I critique myself, I'm moving out of principle. Because principle is pretty objective, it's cause and effect. Okay? Now, uninterrupted though, we definitely adopt beliefs from the outside world. And most of that happens unconsciously. We also adopt beliefs from our family through birth, through the family history. If you find that your family has a history, say, of heart disease, truth be told, if you can see that, you have the ability to interrupt that pattern in your body. You definitely have the ability to interrupt that pattern in your body. One of the things I used to say to my beginning students always, especially to the women in the class, and just bear with me as I say this, there's a lot of agreement about women and menstruation. There's a lot of agreement. Oh boy, who wants to, oh, I can't do anything, I don't feel well, I have cramps, and blah, 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 blah. We have big agreement. We love to tell our stories about it. We love to share we love to share our stories about it, to be honest with you, at least when I was younger. But I got into the science of mind, and I want you to hear me because I'm about to give you a testimony, or about to testify, as I say. When I got into the science of mind, and I was told what I'm telling you now, that I had influence. I won't say control because that's a little too heavy of a word in my mind. When I have influence over my body temple, I decided I no longer wanted to suffer from those monthly menstrual pains. I decided to go into my body and basically heal it and say no more. And I'm telling you, there was a month that it was normal, and then the next month it was gone, and it never returned. Please hear me. I'm telling you the truth. So I know that I can have be in conscious relationship with my body, and I can interrupt the patterns, even patterns that I have found agreement with millions of women. Excuse me. So if I can do that, that was a pretty easy demonstration. And I have many others that I've done. If I can do that with a globally agreed upon, I don't know if it's global. I'll take that back. I'm making an assumption there. Let's just call it agreed upon experience. Then what can I do with other things? What can you do with other things? What are you experiencing right now that you might be able to have influence over? Okay, like let's not get into the heavier stuff, and let's not get into criticizing yourself if you've been ill. It happens. Things happen. They sneak in. But just think about it. What could you influence? I'm going to go a little further in the textbook, okay? On the bottom of 99. Psychology has shown that the physical or subjective disturbances produce physical reactions in the body. If the body is to be permanently well, the soul or subjective life must be in poise, the mind peaceful and happy. It may be considered as a general rule that when the soul is poised in true spiritual realization, the body will be normal and healthy. This is the purpose of mental healing, whether it's approached from the psychological or metaphysical angle. Psychological and psychology, and metaphysics are but two ends of the same thing. So we treat the body as a legitimate effect controlled by the soul life. Okay. This is one of the reasons why I am passionate about supporting, lifting, inspiring, and doing everything I can to support practitioners in the world. In my mind, once I understood the role of a practitioner, and if you're listening for the first time, a practitioner is someone who has been trained in a science of mind community to be able to do healing work through the power of prayer treatment with on any plane to help to heal an idea of lack or an idea of where there's a lack of self-love, which, by the way, let me say this straight out. You raise your self-love quotient, a lot of your ailments will immediately disappear. Just by choosing to love yourself exactly as you are and as you are not. As that self-love quotient comes up, it squeezes out the other ailments, a lot of them. Okay. So a practitioner, if I was in charge of the world, everyone listening to me right now would call a practitioner on a regular basis and would call a practitioner not instead of a doctor if you feel you have to go to a doctor, but even before you go to the doctor, so that you have brought spiritual principle to that physical experience, and that you marry the both, the physical and the spiritual. And this, I'm going to give you an example of what I do and what I have taught my practitioners to do. Let's say you have to go to the doctor and you're pretty sure there's going to be a procedure or you're going to get medication. To work what we're reading in the textbook, to marry it with application, what I do is, and like I said, what I've trained my practitioners to do is to treat for someone. Let's say Betty Bob. Betty Bob has to go to the doctor, and she knows she's going to get medication. Okay, what I would do is I would treat to know that she has exactly the right doctor, that everybody in that doctor's office is blessed, that she is received in love, and everybody from the receptionist to the doctor to the nurses, every single person is blessed, that the doctor has he or she is a genius. They have the highest of wisdom, and whatever medication is prescribed, if there is, that prescription marries perfectly with Betty's body, so that there's a beautiful synchronicity and that everything blends together with ease and grace. Now, I haven't told her not to go to a doctor, but I go to the doctor being blessed. Go to the doctor being uplifted, because the body is responding to our vibration, to our consciousness, and to the collective. So when we surround ourselves in our physical body in prayer, when we surround the ailment in prayer, we have now made ourselves very available to what I now lovingly call magical metaphysical moments. When we bring in principle, we bring in practice, we align it, and we trust the outcome. Okay, how we doing? Any questions as of yet? Any thoughts? Anything you want to object to? Because that works too. It's always good to question everything, by the way. Question everything. I don't care who's here. Every teacher, question everything, because we don't ever want to be a teaching filled with people who mindlessly follow, which we're not. We are teaching rebels. Anyway, let's go on. We have learned that spirit is the absolute being, that it is the only thing in the universe which has self-knowingness, volition, choice, or will. Very important. The soul is the servant of the spirit and has no choice but to purpose, and no purpose other than to execute the purpose given it. So I want, actually, for my own purpose, I want to reread one piece of that, okay? It is the only thing, absolute being, is the only thing in the universe which has self, knowingness, volition, choice, or will. So anything that spirit has, you and I have access to. So if you're dealing with something, I can't tell you that in a nanosecond things are going to change. I can't tell you that. That would, but you. It's important that we cultivate faith and conviction, even before we see the evidence. We want to start by saying whatever it is you want to say. For me, that I am a child of the beloved. I am a child of the beloved. I am worthy of all good. I am worthy beyond measure. All that God is what I am. All that spirit is activates itself in my life. And I'm going to affirm myself over and over and over again and cultivate that faith and cultivate that conviction so that so that I even so that there's a part of me that doesn't even get caught in some of the for years. I'll give an example. My spiritual teacher, my first spiritual teacher, she taught us to always say, I don't believe in germs, which sounds like a negative, I know, but somehow it was still empowering. And so for all the years that I was going to my community, that our community was open before COVID, you remember that, right? And people would hug me and somebody would have a cold. And they say, oh, no, I can't hug you. I have a cold. And I'd say, it's okay. I don't believe in germs. I got to be honest. It worked. It worked. It worked. I was able to be in the company of and not catch those things because there was a lot of people over the years. And I think it's probably the same thing when a mother doesn't get sick from her children. Now, eventually she might. It happens on occasion. But when we are in that space of aligning with spirit and love is the path that we're walking upon, you're immune. Our immune system is by far higher. And then when there's an exception, when something does happen, I want to reiterate, it's not about going back and criticizing yourself. Stuff happens. It happens. Okay, we good? I'm checking in again. Okay, you're here with me. We're on the chapter of the body in the textbook if you're just tuning in. And this is the Science of Mind lecture series happening every Saturday morning, 10 a.m., 9 a.m. Mountain, 11 Eastern. And Reverend Robert is bringing you the next chapter next week. Okay. On 101, under cause and effect. Effect is that which did not make itself, but must have a power back of it, causing it to be. All manifestation, all body is effect and is subject to its cause. I can't say it any straighter than that. So if something is, and that's something that we can measure either in physical experience or in physical form, even if it means literally, measuring it, if it could be measured, then there was a cause back of that thing. Something thought it into being, something dreamed it into being, something caused it through a contemplation upon, a conscious contemplation, and it was created. You have to hear how exactly he's saying that, how absolutely he's saying that. Now, of course, if you're not a Science of Mind student, you don't have to buy any of this. If you are a Science of Mind student, though, catch how he says that without any exceptions. He places no exceptions there. Okay, I'm going to go on. On page 102, and I found this liberating. Liberating. Evolution is not creating, it's at the bottom of the third paragraph, by the way. Evolution is not creating intelligence. Intelligence is projecting evolution. And he goes on to say, we do not deny the theory of evolution. We affirm its cause to be intelligence operating as consciousness and law. I read that 20 some odd years ago or more, however long now, 6 years ago. And it really shook up my world, not because I believed specifically in just evolution, but because it raised up inside of me my belief in intelligence as a cause. As a cause. And I don't know, for some of you that might not work for you. You might decide, well, I can't go that far with it. It's okay. It's okay. But what that says to me is that as I raise my awareness, my personal self-awareness, as I raise my awareness, and I do this as a kind of spiral up, and as I raise my self-awareness, my emotional intelligence, and increase my divine relationship with all that is, I become less available to the lower currents and the influences, and I am in a greater position to have more influence, not only over myself, but to be part of the solution where there's pain and suffering on the planet. Example, I am a conscious, studying to be a conscious ally in the, and these words are not really, I just don't have better words at the moment, on the war on racism. So as I raise my awareness, I do my personal work, I become a better ally in that realm. As I raise my emotional intelligence and my self-awareness and my understanding of how spirit contemplates upon itself to create, I raise and I increase my relationship so that I can have greater impact. I can have it with myself. I can have it with people in my community. I can have it, what is the comment? I can have it with people around me and my grandchildren. And that is by interrupting particular thoughts. That's what that is. Hold on. We have a comment. I'm trying to see what it is so I can just share. So Chris says, I find that new problems seem like exceptions at first. Yes. Brilliant. But practice helps me to catch myself reacting to some new appearance as an exception. Something I didn't participate in causing or collectively believe in. Yeah. That brilliant. It's brilliant, Chris, because what happens is when something new comes up, if we don't analyze it properly, because it's hard to catch the cause that sets something in motion sometimes. It's not easy. It's not simple. Oh wait, I had a brilliant example. I think I might have given it on the radio show a week ago, but I want to give it here. I'm getting my home renovated. And so in the world of renovation, anybody who's ever hired a contractor, there is an idea about contractors that we could all agree upon. I could I could start to bitch, moan, and complain about my my contractor, and you would all say, "Oh yeah, I know this happened and that happened." They never call back, and all these things, right? Because there's been a collective, agreed upon story that we have. So here I am. I'm entering a relationship with a contractor who's about to come in and beautify my home. And what I noticed, and thank you God that I have this level of awareness, I caught that I have that history. That's the voice behind the voice, as I call it. But there I am sitting at my kitchen table with him. And I thought, who do I have to be and what do I have to believe in order for this to be the most positive experience I could possibly create, both for myself and for this gentleman? And so I decided I had to back up from being in collaboration, right? In collusion. I don't want to collude with the least idea. I want to collaborate with the highest idea. And so I caught that awareness. And now I react to him and speak to him, and I surround him with a consciousness of workability and possibility. So that speaks to what you said, Chris, because I didn't see that coming and then I caught it, but I interrupted it now. I interrupted it live time. And that is a practice that is not always simple or easy, but it is definitely a great practice. Okay, we're coming to the close of our time and the chapter. On the bottom of 102, the last paragraph, it says, could we understand absolute causation, we should perceive it to be pure intelligence operating through perfect law. It to be perfect law and producing effects which live and have their being, not by virtue of an isolated life, but by reason of a universal unity which permeates all things. We should then see that the world of multiplicity is deep rooted in a universe of unity, that nothing happens by chance, that we live under a government of law from the vast planetary system to a garden of roses, from the archangel of the Christ to the saint and the sinner, through good and in what is called evil. Pretty huge. It's huge. So, what I'm saying here, what the teaching is saying here, is that to the degree that you and I wake up, we become less and less and less at the mercy of some of the spontaneous influences that we don't see coming. Never for a second am I telling you that by becoming more spiritual, you'll never get sick again. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that when you and I develop our faith, our conviction, and we live in right relationship with, with all that is, we learn to navigate it. We are less at the mercy. Does that make sense? I can't see you, but I'm asking you. Go into your heart and ask yourself, does that make sense? And then if you're new, please watch your language, watch your mind. Ernest Holmes says, change your thinking, change your life. I say, change your thinking, feeling, pondering, daydreaming, imagining, change your life. Because all of those things count. And as a matter of fact, next week and the week after, March 13th and the 20th, I am doing a workshop, a 2-week workshop series on minding the 10% of your conscious mind. Because as we learn to cultivate and discipline the conscious mind, that's one of the places. And the conscious mind is the gatekeeper. So as we do that, as we cultivate that conscious discipline on how to apply the mind, we start to access we start to access the strength and the faith as an informative influence in our lives. And when you choose to influence and become and apply it, and you're the example with people around you, people will get the message and will say, "Oh, I'm not stuck. I'm not at the mercy of conditions." Join me. Join me, if you will, at that 2 week workshop. As a matter of fact, I want to tell you, I'm doing the entire thing as a fundraiser for this radio show because I love what they're doing. I love Reverend Robert. I love this radio show, and I'm supporting them. So whether you give money or you participate in the workshop, it's $45 for 2 weeks. You will walk away with great fodder to chew on and to grow from. So if you will, join me, sign up for that workshop as soon as you can. And I'll see you. I'll see you Thursday. And hopefully I'll see you next Saturday. Don't remember the time. Reverend Robert just had that. Can you put that up again for me, Robert? Can you put up the slide about, there we go. 11 a.m. Mountain Time, 1 to 3 Eastern. Sorry, so much going on. I sign up, please register, support this incredible radio show while giving to it and learning something in return. Be well, be happy, be brilliant. Jersey Girl signing off. See you soon. Bye.
Check it out. Thursdays, 10 a.m. Mountain Time, noon Eastern. A healthy dose of Jersey Girl wisdom. Live with Rev Jersey Girl. Sponsored by New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.